Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. I'm sure that thumbnail was very clickbaity. I am the clickbait king of the YouTube knife world though, so that does, that's kind of par for the course. But there actually is some truth to that. This is, from my perspective, it's one of the scariest knives out there. And it's because I injured myself with an earlier version of this knife. And so every time I see a picture of it, I just, I feel like you guys are probably like that. In fact, list the knife down in the description that is not necessarily more dangerous than any other knife, but because it got you good, whenever you look at it, you go, ugh, the music, when Brendan looks at the drum set in Step Brothers and that, like that song, that's how I feel when I look at this knife. It's intense. We'll get more into that here in just a second. Thanks so much to eKnives for loaning this knife to me for review. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. What do we have here from Heretic? We have the Hydra V4 recurve two-tone black tactical. Black tactical! That's my favorite kind. Okay, these do come with, lubrication. That's good. Probably should use exactly what they send you. How do you get this out without, pulling? I don't want to... Okay, just like that? All right. So, I love talking about single action OTFs. Every time you talk about it, doesn't matter. Now, here in YouTube, you guys are far more reasonable. This is long form content, and it requires that the majority of people watching have an attention span. If you have an attention span, you're probably more likely to actually listen and learn. And I'm not saying that I'm the best teacher or anything. I'm just saying if you'll sit and actually watch a video, it means that you don't have the type of brain that's just different sets of jingling keys to get your attention, and then you never actually learn anything, right? You just absorb the tiniest bit of context and then assume. This is how the legend of the magical, ancient, yes, my uncle Rickety-Doo had the legendary switchblade where you could hold it up against a solid surface and it would puncture it completely and lock out. That's a detail that I have to throw in there because they're like, if I could make a little hole in a box. Pretty much anything can do that. The weakest OTFs can do that. The myth that is perpetuated by people who just have a memory that they made up or they just want to believe that it's true. The absolute factual historical myth that there has ever existed a pocket-sized manual operating OTF automatic switchblade that can be held up to a solid surface. You can push the button and it will fully penetrate and lock out is absolutely a lie. It has never existed factually. It has never been. What about the old school one? Metal Complex, now hold on now, Sonny. What about the old ones? And we all know that those were just magically more powerful because of my memory of that being true. So what about those old ones? What about them? Where are they? They don't exist. They don't exist. The auto paratrooper and the trapdoor and all of that. Yeah, that's people reading words and then just going, oh yeah, that does that. I saw it on that documentary. It's called It. Yeah. No, they don't do that. But the reason I'm saying this, the reason I'm getting all dramatic and trying to make you guys laugh, that's what I'm trying to do. This is the most powerful type of knife, of automatic knife, right? Now we're talking about something like this that's handheld, it's deployed, and it can be retracted or reloaded with natural manual force, right? I'm not talking about something that's hypothetically hooked up to an air tank, like No Country for Old Men. That was a really funny conversation. I'm not talking about something that could hypothetically be fired with a 22 round. No, I think there's a lot of reasons that's not a good idea. And I'm also not talking about OTF knives where the knife leaves the handle. That would be a ballistic knife. Those are completely different things. A manually retracted single action OTF switchblade, which is what this is the most powerful type of OTF automatic switchblade in existence. And these newer ones, specifically, I'm talking about the Hydra V4, which is this, the Microtech Halo 6, I think most of the Halo series knives, but Halo 6, and like the Max Ace Draco, which is basically the Halo. Those are the most powerful. There has not existed an old special, magical variation. Your Uncle Harry Wizard did not own like a magical special variation of that was just magically more powerful. These are the most powerful, right? I know. We're 6 minutes into this. I haven't deployed it yet. So we move this over. Let's see. Oh, God, it's just, it really is still scary. Now, I have to tell you, because a lot of people have been telling me the Hydra V4 is more powerful than the Halo 6. It's more powerful than the Draco. You got to try it. You got to try it. This is a powerful knife. This is a knife where I accidentally fired this, the second generation or the first generation into my hand. And it hit a callus, and it went about a quarter inch into the callus on this hand. It was right here. Now, if that callus had not been there, I think it would have done more damage, but it still would have stopped. It would not have fired through my hand, right? It's powerful. It's powerful. I still think the Draco and especially the Halo 6 is still more powerful. This is cool. I think that this is more reliable than if you're not seeing what I'm doing here, like it's sprung, like there's a big coil spring in there and it's sprung, you push the button and it fires, right? There's no bounce back, which is nice. The Draco has a problem with bounce back and it doesn't lock out. To retract, you have to manually retract it. The reason that a single action, if any knife historically that was, again, not plugged into like a freaking Hellcat motor, right? It didn't have like a round in there to fire off. It didn't have some like incredible air compression tank, right? All these nonsensical things, that eliminates the whole idea of convenience, right? So that's all just fantasy, right? Could it technically be made? Fine, but you're not going to carry around the tank or whatever else, right? Objects within this parameter, something you can put in your pocket that it has manual actuation. You would have to manually retract it. It's not going to be a double action because you cannot operate a double action with your thumb that has enough force to penetrate completely and fully. I'm not talking about putting a little hole in it and stopping it. It doesn't have enough. You cannot apply enough unless you are Hercules or Thor. You cannot apply enough. The spring tension required in a double action to be able to deploy like that. Like, this is just logic. Like, rules within the physical universe that we live in. The spring would have to be outrageously powerful, and you would have to overcome it. So, the only kind of where we can get kind of close to a reality of this would be in a single action, right? You got enough spring power in this, and you push the button, it's going to unload. Now, first of all, if you had enough power in that deployment for the blade to fully penetrate solid surfaces like a body, think about how much impact is going into the frame. I would say probably 5 to 10 times the force, closer to 10 times the force of this. Maybe not that much. At least 5 times. But then you would have to be able to physically retract it. That would be the problem. That's why, right? And then you have to fit that spring and everything inside of the frame and hope that it doesn't fly apart every time you use it. That's why this is a myth. That's why this is magic nonsense. It's a memory. It's a false memory that people have, and it's based on an assumption, not actually physical proof. You probably, as a kid, this is the thing that I always get into with people on YouTube Shorts. You probably, as a kid, believed that it was true, never saw any evidence, and then as you got older, you just created a false memory that it definitely existed, and it didn't, and it never has, right? The most powerful versions of these knives are these modern Hydra, Draco, and Halo 6 automatic OTFs. I would love for there to be one that was like mega, ultra, super powerful and dangerous. Not because I actually want to carry it. It's just like, that's neat. But as of right now, it doesn't exist. These are the most powerful variations. This is cool, though. And I'll tell you what, I would prefer, if I was going to carry a single action OTF, I would prefer to carry this over the other two because it's powerful, but it's not as scary powerful as the other two, despite this being the one that I actually injured myself with. And there's no bounce back. And this is made in the United States. I think this is pretty cool. I'm not the biggest fan of the two-tone, and honestly, the whole thing just looks kind of globby. You know, we got like the raindrop and like the kind of the weird handle shape and the kind of the recurve. I don't know how to describe the aesthetic. It's the least aesthetically pleasing of all the super powerful modern tactical single action OTFs out there. But I think this is probably the one that I would carry because it's a little smaller. It doesn't make me go like the Halo does. God, the Halo is terrifying. And there's no bounce back. I mean, we fired it I don't know how many times now, and I have not seen any like issue with locking out. I mean, it goes into the open position and locks out. So these are also in MagnaCut now, but I know that I'm correct about these things. I know that I am. I'm not saying that as far as I know, I'm saying I know that I'm right about this stuff. But if you think I'm wrong, then you send me a video. You send me a video of something like this. I don't care what time period it came from. It's not attached to anything. It doesn't have any special gimmick. It is fully manually operated, and I want to see it deploy and puncture a surface that is, I would say, more solid than something like cardboard or paper, or right. I want to see, like, the myth that people push is that it's able to penetrate something as hard as a watermelon rind or a pig's carcass, while again fully deploying and locking out, not making a small puncture and stopping, but fully locking out. If you think that you've got you know if something like that exists, then provide video evidence. I would love that. I get in this. You can tell I get in this argument dozens of times a day because of those YouTube shorts that I created a while back. And I'm more than happy to argue. I'm more than happy. But anyways, this is a cool knife. It's expensive. This is a weird unboxing. I will link this down at eKnives. You guys can check it out. I will absolutely do a full comprehensive review of this knife. It's a nice knife, and it's one of those things that, the Hydra being a rare, super powerful single action OTF, we just don't see a lot of those. So cool. All right, that's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.